Going back to the yacht story, why did you choose that specific?
Yeah, people love that story.
Gina Plessis, the co-founder and CEO of the Laser Lab,
where they specialize in everything beauty, from skincare to hair removal.
to making you look 10 years younger.
How do you then grow your customer base?
I think a lot of it's got to do with not just delivering a service. You're not just in and out. It's not just a sausage factory. It's very, very detail orientated. It's the highest service level that you can get in the world, you know.
How would you describe who you are?
So I don't think I fear losing.
Do you think that mindset has contributed towards your success?
Definitely. A lot of people don't chase their dreams or don't take that next step. I speak to so many people who want to own businesses, start businesses, or get out of corporate or get out of a 9 to 5, but they're just too scared.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever received? Gina,
Yes, hi.
how would you describe who you are and what you do?
Describe myself as a very loving, outgoing person. I own the Laser Lab with my husband, and I'm more involved operationally. So which entails quite a few different things, which we couldn't get into just now if you'd like to. But I'd just say I'm a very, very outgoing, energetic person that loves to meet new people, try new ideas within my business, push the boundaries a little bit, and I'm very, what can I say? I love to take risk. I'm not scared of risk. Some people could say it's a bit wild or a bit stupid, but it's worked for me so far. So I don't think I fear losing. I think that's.
Do you think that mindset has contributed towards your success?
Definitely. Because my husband is a little bit more, he was a little bit more, like cautious, being in corporate, and he grew up that way. I like to push the boundaries. Like I said, I don't mind. I'm not scared of losing and making a mistake. And I think that is very, I don't know, it adds a lot of value to the business, I think. Because I think a lot of people don't chase their dreams or don't take that next step. I speak to so many people who want to own businesses, start businesses, or get out of corporate or get out of a 9 to 5, but they're just too scared. They're scared of losing their savings. They're scared of making mistakes. They're embarrassed to make a mistake. They think they're going to look like a fool if they don't take that, if it's not a great success. And I don't really mind.
How do you get over that? How do you push past that fear?
It's a personality thing. I just think it's a confidence within. And it's something that's been instilled in me from a very young age. My parents have always boosted us and made us believe in ourselves. And I think, I don't know, it's just in my personality. It's in my makeup. I don't think it's something, some people, like my sister, she's a little bit more, nervous and scared to take risks. It's also circumstantial. It depends on whether or not, like, for example, it would be harder for me to take wild risks now. I was lucky I did it when I was very young. I started the business when I was very young, and I had no responsibility. Now I've got a family to look after. So the older you get, it does become more challenging to take those risks. But I think I was lucky because I was so young. I had nothing to lose really. So
if you weren't the CEO of Laser Lab, what would you be doing?
I'd have another business. I actually used to own a swimwear business where I'd make custom swimwear obviously for girls, bikinis and full pieces, and I had a little brand, and it was quite a challenging business, but it could have done well if I kept going with it. It was just challenging in this country because we don't have good materials, we don't have good seamstresses. It was just really, really challenging to work with the people, but I'd definitely come up with something. I always said I'd rather sell hot dogs than work for someone, so that's always kind of been my mindset. I've always just pushed to own my own business, and when I left school, a lot of my friends went off and obviously studied and so some of them are still studying, doing their MBAs or whatever. I studied, but I worked as well. So I didn't really enjoy the student life as much as my peers, because I was always just pushing to come up with a great idea so that I could have financial freedom. I think that was my biggest thing. I never wanted to be, one of those ladies who stands in front of their husband and goes, please can I have money? Please can I have pocket money? It was always my dream to have financial freedom as a woman. I think that was really important to me as well. So
For people looking to obtain financial freedom, do you think that is the end goal? Or once you achieve it, then what?
I think that's also, dependent on your goals and who you are as a person. Like for me, I never want to be too greedy. I never want to, lose focus on what really matters. I think, there's so much more to making money and making a success of a business. And I always say that to my husband, when is enough enough? Because you can get caught up in that chase. And that can be so unhealthy. And I've seen that in a lot of people as well. I think if your focus isn't, if you're just focusing on achieving and making money, and you don't really value other things that much, then it can be really detrimental to your well-being. My focus is not just making money and thriving as a business owner. My focus is very family orientated. I grew up like that. I love my family, and and I'm a person with strong faith, so I believe in a lot more than just being, successful on planet Earth. So I think that adding value to other people's lives, I think that I get a big kick out of that as well, like creating a business where I can also employ people, where I can help people, and I've seen that, and it just is so amazing to see the value that you can add and how you can better other people's lives, and I love that, we pay way above industry standards, our salaries, and we do that because we don't want a big staff turnaround, and it's just so nice to see people thriving. Like we've got so many nice success stories, people coming out of informal settlements who work for us, so quite a lot of them, and they're just loving life now, loving life, sending their kids to better schools, living in safer areas, and to see their appreciation and joy and passion for their job because they're getting valued is, that's priceless. So I definitely don't just value money, and obviously it's nice, but I mean, and then achieving the next goal, there's so much more to it. There's a lot of depth to what we do, what I see in a business as well, and I love what it's done for my marriage as well. It's really, some people grow apart, but we've grown a lot closer, and it's something that we share together and that we love building together. It's really just a passion project basically for the two of us. So
What challenges do you have? I know that you mentioned to me it's pretty chilled and it's pretty easy to work with your partner.
Yeah.
But early on, were there any challenges? And if so, how did you navigate that to get to where you are now, which seems like you guys are both thriving in this business?
I am very relaxed. I'm a very relaxed person. So is he. I'd say he's a lot more thick-skinned than I am. But I think we just respect each other's roles. We don't, we listen to each other, we hear each other, we respect each other, we respect each other's opinions. And I think that's a big thing. If you can respect and communicate clearly to your partner and they listen to you, and someone's not trying to have the bigger voice or trying to bulldoze the other one just to be right, I think, you can really make it work. I think where a lot of partners go wrong is they don't respect each other's boundaries and their roles within the company. So I think that's where we are managing to get it right. I'm not too sure it just works. Like we've been doing it for so long, and sometimes he will try to dip his toes a little bit in my into my departments, but I also like that. I like it if he says, hey, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? I think if you can take criticism, that's a big thing. A lot of people can't take criticism. A lot of people get defensive when they hear that they maybe are wrong or they're not, doing things the way it should be done. And I think I am very open to being criticized by him and being helped by him. So I think that's a big thing. I don't know so much about him, but yeah, luckily I can't really get involved in his division. So
Yeah, it sounds like you guys have clear split responsibilities
Yeah.
and are both responsible for those
Yes.
things in the business. And it also sounds like you just have that open, clear, honest communication and trust
it's a big thing. Yeah.
between. I think respect was a good word that you used from a professional point of view, and not trying to win.
Yeah, exactly. Not trying to be the better one. Yeah. I think that's a big thing.
And going back to the beginning, how did the idea come about to start the Laser Lab?
I started it. I had a corporate job in Joburg, and I hated it because, like I always said, I've always been an entrepreneur in my heart, and I've always wanted to work for myself. My whole family works for them, so none of us work for anyone. And I was a professional sportswoman at school, and I used to do laser hair removal when it wasn't really a thing. It was very painful, and it wasn't really popular at the time. But I needed to do it because I was a swimmer, so I would go for my sessions anyway. I just did a session up in Joburg, and I saw they had this new technology, and I was like, wow, we don't have this in the Western Cape yet. Here's a gap. And immediately I contacted the sales company, and I sat down with them in Gauteng, and I heard the price of the machine at the time. I think the machine was about 1.5 million rand. And I mean, I was 22 years old, 22 at the time. And obviously didn't have that cash flow. So I went to the bank. They laughed at me because I didn't have a credit history or anything. And my dad also just said to me, I'm not giving you money, you got to work for it. So I went onto the yachts, and I made some cash there, came home, put a deposit down. I got a loan from my uncle. They own Pollen Finance in Stellenbosch, in fact. And I got a loan from him, and I think we paid about, it was about, speak under correction, about 20% interest rate. So yeah, it was steep, but we made it work, and that's how I started. And then I started in a small little, at the back of a dental practice. I had a small little room. I paid $4,000 rent a month, and it was just me and my machine. I worked from 7 to 7, 6 days a week. And yeah, then from there, it kind of just, my clients started asking for more. They were like, don't you do skincare? Don't you do this? I need this done. I need that. And I was like, hi, here's an opportunity. And I slowly started adding these things. And also, I grew into the business, if that makes sense, because I started from the ground up. And I think that's really important, because I really got to know all the finer details, because I started so small. And I think that's where a lot of people also go wrong. Maybe their parents can afford to buy them the machine, for example, and just give it to them. And I don't think that's always the correct way to go about it, because you're not doing the groundwork, And I think that was part of the success as well, because I really learned all the nitty gritties. Even, for example, I'm not a qualified skincare therapist or nail tech or a doctor that does injectables. I watched all the tricks of the trade, because I went through all those building phases, of the business. So, yeah.
And going back to the yacht story, how long were you there?
Not long at all.
Okay. And was the intention just to make money from that, and why did you choose that specific?
Yeah. People love that story. No, it's the quickest way to make money. For a youngster, let's not lie. It's the quickest way. You do a little course, you go over, you're earning in euros or in dollars. And my mindset was in and out. Because I was dating my husband at the time, we've been together now 13 years or 12, 13 years. And he was a professional rugby player at the time. So we were doing 4.5 years long distance. We were getting over it. So I literally and I wasn't going to follow him around being a wag. I wanted to make my own dreams come true, So I literally said to myself, I'm not going to spend any money. What a lot of yachties do is they go, they live the life, they party, they buy Louis Vuitton, they do all those things. I didn't spend any money. I saved every penny so that I could come and buy my machine. So I was very goal driven at the time. And to be honest, the yachting was an amazing experience. It is really amazing. And some people love being at sea and they get really good gigs. I had some rough times. Like it was not only hard work, it's that I could handle, but it's it's a rough industry to be involved in. A lot of money, a lot of things that I didn't want to see, you know, at that young, at my young age. But yeah, it was good for what I needed it to be. Yeah. So.
What were some of those things, if you want to share?
Drugs, a lot of prostitution, just a very debauched, evil environment. Like I said, the yachting industry can be very good and wholesome. There are a lot of yacht owners who, you know, are more into the exploring and the fishing and the diving and those more wholesome things. But a lot of them, with a lot of money comes a lot of bad as well. It was a big eye-opener because you think, you know, all these big sheikhs and these big, you know, these huge business owners are, you know, they live the life. But it's so sad to see the amount of sadness. There isn't family unity. There isn't. I mean, I'm generalizing now. Obviously, there's some really happy families with yachts. I'm just saying, with the ones I worked on, it was so sad to see that, yes, you've got all the money in the world, you know, you're eating caviar for breakfast, but you are so unhappy and you're cheating on your wife, and I couldn't bear watching that, you know. 1 week I'm busy serving a family, and the next week he's there with 9-10 prostitutes, you know. It's just the boss of the boat. It's just, for me, it was heartbreaking to see. Some people can handle it. I couldn't handle it. I didn't like seeing all of that stuff. I don't think it's healthy being around that type of environment. But yeah, that was one of the boats I was on. So.
It sounds like it's definitely an eye opener. Also, this, like you explained, having all the money in the world, which can lead to this sort of entitlement from these individuals, and, you know, power, if you will.
Well, they do have a lot of power, yeah. So, well, that doesn't always come happiness. So.
Getting back, how do you then grow your customer base from that renting 4K a month with your machine?
I think a lot of it's got to do with personality and drawing the right types of clients to your business and creating a really nice client like relationships with your clients, and not just delivering a service. You're not just in and out. It's not just a sausage factory. It's not just a number, but building those relationships with your clients, being super hands-on, really caring for the client. And if they can see that, well, in my game, you know, I think that's where I was good at what I did to a degree. I really cared for the client. I wanted you to get a good result. I was hands-on. I checked up on you. Obviously, things have changed a little bit now because we're a lot bigger, but I still try and instill that in my business. It's not always easy when you scale, but yeah, I think having that individual touch with a client. And understanding the way they like things done, and you know, I learned a lot on the yachts as well. You know, I learned that detail. So yes, it wasn't always glamorous, but you learn a lot of. It's very, very detail orientated. It's the highest service level that you can get in the world. You know, so your eye gets trained for all of those things, which I think I could bring back as well, and implement that in my business and see, you know, what actually makes a client, what will impress a client. Just going that extra mile.
Yeah, exceptional customer service and going above and beyond.
Yeah.
And you mentioned scaling and growing. What challenges do you have moving to other locations, to now other provinces?
Very difficult in the beginning because Stellenbosch is probably the hardest place to get retail space. I mean, if you don't have contacts, you ain't getting in anywhere. Like, it is really tough because everyone wants to get in here, and it's small. It's very expensive, and there's very limited space. And obviously that first move for me was massive. I first moved into that courtyard where Kauai is, the vet square, to a small little building, and that's when I started adding all my treatments and all my offerings, and then we outgrew that very quickly. But I mean, it's always a risk. You've got to be willing to take that risk. Like, it's not It's not easy. You need the contacts. You need to. It's always. That's why my first branch was in Stellenbosch, because I was on the ground and you really like chatting to people or seeing signs go up. This is for rent. That's for rent. They often also won't just give it to anyone who's new in business. So someone took a bit of a chance with me because I didn't have a history of rental. And normally they look at all of those things. They don't want you to come in and rent for a year and move out again. They want a long-term lease, a lot of them. And they can be picky because there's like 100 people standing in a queue trying to get that spot. So they really can be picky as landlords, and that makes it even more tough. But yeah, once you've got your foot in the door, and once you've almost got like a portfolio and you can show them, you can show developers or you can show other people, landlords in Cape Town, for example, because that's what I did. I went to them and I showed them, this is what we've got. This is the look and feel. Please come pay our store a visit and you can see what we're about. And then they build a little bit more trust. And then you meet the next great person who's in, like now we made some fantastic developers I only got it right now. I've been doing this for how long? For 8 years. And I only got it right now I've been trying so long to get into Pretoria, but I don't have contacts there. So I was trying my utmost to go through Property 24, for example. But that's the scraps, I almost want to say. The stuff that's nice gets taken up so quickly. And for that, you need contacts. So eventually I got hold of the right development company, and they're amazing. And we're busy working with them now, and they don't really have space for us, but they're trying to make space for us because they've seen our concept now. They love our concept. And I think once you get in with the right people, from there it's a snowball effect. From there, whenever they develop a new mall or develop a new center, they're going to phone you first if you do a good job. And obviously if you're a good paying tenant. I think it's pretty easy once you get in with the right people.
And in terms of growing the brand, what things did you implement early on to actually grow the look and feel of that brand and the perception of the Laser Lab?
I was very, very picky with who I employed. The girls needed to not just be a pretty face. Personality is very important, being able to work hard. I had a lot of people who came with the right CV, but they didn't understand the grind. They didn't understand the finer detail. They didn't speak well, for example, or carry themselves well. Then I wouldn't take them on. So I took very like-minded people as much as I could to myself. And I think that added a lot of value. Also got the right brand ambassadors in place. Minky van der Westhuizen was my first brand ambassador. And I'm actually surprised she even took me seriously in the beginning, which was amazing, So she's been with me from the start, from when I was very, very small. And she's still with me, and that's added a lot of value. And then I've got a few other brand ambassadors as well. I think that is important. And then also, like I said earlier on, that eye for detail, that customer service, that it was a very personal experience when you used to come to me. Unfortunately now, that's a decision you've also got to make. A lot of people are like, don't go too big because you're going to, lose your touch. And it's true, like you can't be everywhere at once. I've got 4 stores going on 5, going on 6. I can't be everywhere at once. So yes, you could say, the original Laser Lab was more hands-on, or it was more of a personal feel when you went in there. So people could have maybe left us to say, they're not getting that personal experience. But that's why I do try and employ people who, like my managers, who are great, who take that role from me. So they're kind of the face of the business now. So I always say that to them, this is your baby, and I want them to be proud, and I want them to treat it like it's their own business. I think if you can give someone that responsibility and that passion for the brand that you have, and they can also share in that and see growth opportunity for themselves, and then I think it adds a lot of value. Because we can't scale with, it's impossible with me trying to be everywhere. I'll go crazy if I have to, try juggle it all. So
Definitely.
I also have to trust people to do so for me, or share the same passion as I do.
It sounds that the key to maintaining quality is finding those right individuals and the right fit, and letting them run things.
And being able to hand over. A lot of people in the beginning was really tough for me because I had a certain way of doing things. One of my staff member said to me the other day, she's been with me for 5 years from the start basically, and she said to me, you know, the girls have it so easy these days because you're so much more chilled and you were so tough on me. And I was like, you know, when she said that, I was like, hey, I do need to, you know, tighten it up a little bit, because maybe, it wasn't that great for her in the start, but I was just so detail orientated because I had the capacity. Now I do not have that capacity to be able to be so fine tuned into all the little details, which makes it amazing at the end of the day. It's not always nice for the staff because, you know, it's very much, I'm very pedantic, but it's what makes you successful at the end of the day. The client sees everything.
You also mentioned partnering with brand ambassadors. What's your advice to entrepreneurs who want to partner with brand ambassadors? How do you find them, find the right fit, and also ensure that, you know, your values are aligned with them and their audience?
Like I said, I started with Minky van der Westhuizen and just because I liked her. And I don't have like serious contracts with I'm very much like a relationship person. So everyone's like, oh, you should have these strict contracts and you must. It's like, no, I'll go for coffee with the person if, you know, our values align and our vision aligns and they are respectful to what I'm giving them and offering them, and they bring their side to the party, then we don't need to have contracts and have all these, you know, uptight rules and regulations, because I think that can also become a, you know, it can become a little bit of a chore for me as well, checking up on everyone, you know, why didn't you do this, why didn't you do that? It becomes tiring. It's just another job then for me as well to add to my list. So I take people who I have a personality match with, or choose people. I've had a few bloopers. I've had a few people who just try and get freebies and then they don't do the posts, for example, and they don't meet the end of the agreement. But I always just say to them in the beginning, let's see if this is a mutually beneficial arrangement, and if it works for you, if it works for me, we keep going with it. I'm going to tell you if it doesn't work for me, and if I have to, you know, ask them repeatedly to do certain things, then I just rather end that relationship, because I don't want it to be another chore for me. It should be a nice experience. A lot of people disagree with me, but it's worked so far. You know, I've had long relationships with my brand ambassadors. They don't come and go. There've been a few, obviously, that I've misplaced, but in general, the girls who I had from the start are still with me, very brand loyal.
And how would you structure deals? Is it revenue share? Is it?
No, so I give them free treatment and they do posts for me, and then we do like shoots for them for when we running campaigns and that type of thing, but we just give them free treatment. Once again, I'm very relaxed. I'm not, you know, I don't count every penny. I just kind of eyeball it. I don't take it too seriously.
And would you have advice for someone that's just starting their brand, how to go and approach these ambassadors to leverage their audience and grow their brand?
Yeah, I think find someone that speaks to your brand and that you feel can be a great fit for representing your brand. And don't be scared to, I think a lot of people when they're starting out, they're stingy, you know, because they probably cash strapped, so they don't want to really give a lot away. But I say it's beneficial. We've seen it works for us, you know, like give the brand ambassador what they want, meaning if it's a service-based industry like us, or even if it is a product, you know, don't be stingy, because when they're behind the camera and maybe selling this cup of coffee or whatever, and they're various different products to your company, like you don't want it to look stingy behind the camera as well, you know. So I think be generous in your offering, if I could say that. I wouldn't say, I can't speak on behalf of other companies, but it is a bit tough if you have to, you know, fork out cash and pay them for posts, because that can get very expensive. I mean, some of them charge thousands of rands for a singular post. So I'd say rather just try and give them free treatment, free product, that ask them to talk about it.
Yeah, like you said, mutually beneficial.
That's very important. Yeah.
In
and if you see it's not working, get rid of it. Like, I mean, it's not always easy, but I mean, if you see, maybe you've made a mistake and you see later on that this brand ambassador really doesn't speak to your brand and isn't aligned with your brand, you know, like isn't maybe the same. I don't really know how to word it, but move along on to the next one. I think it's important. I just always go for coffees with them and just also see if our personalities work together. Because if it's not going to work, then both aren't going to really,
it's not
gain
always
from the
about
relationship.
it's not always about the number of followers that they have
No.
and the audience. It's also about the person.
Because you also don't know how organic those followers are, so it could be bought followers, which mean absolutely nothing. Or it could be followers who are following just a beautiful girl, from all over the world, and it's not going to generate an income for you. So you need someone who's also very influential, like you need someone who has influence on other people. Yelene Farie is a very good example of that. She's a fitness brand ambassador of mine. She does like health and food. She has a lot of influence. She's also Burnt. She writes the programs for Burnt, the clothing brand. And she has a lot of, especially in Stellenbosch and Cape Town here, a lot of influence on the young girls. So someone like that is very beneficial for a company. But if you just have like a pretty model, for example, like I've tried those as well, it doesn't work. Because no one really, she's not, known for anything specific. But yeah, I think that's the best advice I could give.
In terms of your treatments, how do you differentiate yourself from competitors?
Well, when I started, I was one of the few that had this I was the only one in the Western Cape who had this offering of this new laser technology. So it was pretty amazing to be, the one person in the Western Cape who had this technology, because laser used to be very, very painful. So people and very, very expensive. So people didn't go for the treatment. And then I came into the Western Cape. I don't know, maybe I think there was one other lady who had a machine. I'm not too sure. But in Cape Town. And people just fell in love with it. The results were good. It was top-end technology. I still work with the same company, very loyal to them. We've traveled overseas with them as well to see really what goes behind, what's going on behind the scenes and how much they invest into their technologies, which was really a cool experience. But yeah, I think, that's how we started. The other stuff everyone does. I mean, it's not really anything specific. I think it was also just adding the value of that client relationship and, being detail orientated and growing those relationships, but nothing really else that we offer that's next level compared to, I think we just really try to put our heart and soul into everything that we do, this fine detail. Like, even if you just come for a set of nails, I would check in the beginning, and still now when I'm in store, I'll check when people are paying, I'll say, please, can I see your nails? And if that set isn't perfect, then I address it. So I'm very, very detail orientated, and I think that adds a lot of value as well. It's important to me that the products that we use are top end. We don't skimp at all on that. Like all my stuff comes from overseas. We're using what the top end doctors are using in the country. So we're not skimping to try and make an extra buck. I think that's also important. A lot of people will try to save a buck and then use a cheap, maybe a local brand. Not that there's anything wrong with local brands, but some of the more basic brands that are more affordable. And we don't take shortcuts, because I've bumped my head before. I bought a machine from China once, and it was the biggest mistake ever. Like, it was a no-name, brand that had no support. Like the company we were working with now, Alma, it's amazing. But yeah, so I think we've bumped our heads before. I learned the hard way. I learned that shortcuts do not work, and buying stuff that isn't top quality doesn't work. So we make less profit per service than someone else who'd offered, something cheaper. But we pride ourselves in offering the best at an affordable rate even. So you'd pay maybe triple if you go to a doctor's clinic for the same treatment. So that's where I saw a gap in the market. I saw, you have your doctors doing skincare, laser, and all these things. And then you've got your very entry-level kind of little beauty salons. And there wasn't really an in-between at the stage. And then we came in between with our pricing, but offering top-end services. And I think that's where we got it right. And there's a lot of people now, post-COVID, there's a lot of places popping up now, doing a similar model. I'm not saying we're the first people to do it, but I think in the area we were kind of one of the first to have adopted that model. And
And how do you remain above them and, don't get outcompeted by these new pop-up stores?
Being competitive with your pricing, being on top of it, still caring about the small details, like I explained. Even if it's just something as simple as having your nails done, it needs to be brilliant. Even though it's only a 250 Rand service, I don't treat you any different to the person who's paying 2,500 Rand for a service, if that makes sense. So we treat all our clients exactly the same, and we're very detail orientated, no matter what you're spending at the store. Or if you're spending 50 Rand at my store, you need to be treated the same as the person who's spending 50,000 Rand at my store. So I think that's where we add a lot of value as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. You speak a lot about customer-centric quality service. And it seems like your customers also are your raving fans and not only come back, but tell other people about it. And I think that's what many business owners don't get and don't understand, is the customer comes first.
100%. I always tell all my staff that. They'll sometimes be like, yeah, but she's this, or she's difficult, or she was late, or whatever. I'm like, I don't care. Customer's always right. As much as there is a fine line. Like, sometimes customers can be ruthless and they can be unfair and they can just try push for a freebie. You get them every now and again. But in my 8 years, I've honestly had a handful of horrible clients. They're all amazing. They've been amazing. They've been supportive. Obviously, some as we go bigger, some of them maybe don't like that. Maybe they like small private, but that's fine. Like, there are people that have followed us from the start, and it's working for us, so we keeping on.
I'm also curious, what's the benefit of laser compared to other treatments?
Hair removal. The benefits are it's more permanent. It gets rid of ingrown hairs. So a lot of people struggle with ingrown hairs, struggle with discoloration of skin, struggle with discomfort, rashes, razor rashes. It used to be very painful. It's pretty much pain-free now with the new technology. It's quick. I mean, I treat your underarms in 11 seconds and I'm done with our new technology. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not something, that takes forever, and it's just more convenient for people. Some people do it for medical reasons. We have a lot of surgeons who send their client or their patients to us for medical reasons, because they just get repeated ingrowns that get infected, and we need to get rid of the hair essentially to help them, because otherwise they have to be operated on the whole time because they get like cysts. So we do a lot of that, but mostly it is, or it can just be for vanity, or it can just be for convenience. Like, some people just want to be silky smooth.
In terms of skincare, why, in your opinion, is it important for people to prioritize a good, healthy skincare routine?
Well, it depends on you. If you want to look good or not, if you want to age gracefully and you want to, just have a healthy, youthful looking skin, you need to, unfortunately, spend some time in the salon, use good home care products, use medical grade products. There's a lot of rubbish on the market, when you go to your general store. A lot of people think that is fine to use those products, but I think it's important to be guided by a professional. Your skin is the largest organ of your body, so essentially we need to treat it with a lot of integrity and very client specific. You can't just, I can't use what you're going to use. You need to go to a professional, have them look and do a tailored routine for you and for your lifestyle. That's also important. And if like I said, if that's, that's what people see, your face. So why not take care of it? But it is a pricey exercise. It's probably the most expensive service that you can take on, because it's also ongoing. And a lot of people, it's weird actually, a lot of people are very hesitant to spend money on their skin. We find that's the most challenging part of the business, is getting people, getting them stuck into a skin routine and sticking to it. They all will just come here and there, and unfortunately it's like diet and exercise. You need to use the good products at home to get the results, and then your SPF is very important, and then you also need to be doing the gym. You need to be training your skin in clinic. You need to be doing those aggressive treatments during the winter, to build your skin barrier, to be getting the dead skin cells off, so that you can get a nice glow if that's what you want. But like I said, people prioritize things differently with what's important to them.
Is there a secret formula for aging gracefully?
Yeah, I would say there is. It just takes a lot of money and time because, like I said, it's ongoing. So the formula would be hydration, a lot of water, obviously a healthy lifestyle that nothing can outrun that. So looking after yourself, exercising, a lot of water, SPF number one. If you can just use one product, use a good SPF. And then obviously just home care products and then in-clinic services as well, so that we can keep that skin, going, get your skin nice and strong, get those dead skin cells off, give you that rejuvenated look. We also do skincare laser as well, for skin tightening, for blemishes. So yeah.
Why is SPF important?
To protect your skin from all your UV light. Even your laptop ages you, the sun. Free radicals, and you need a good antioxidant as well, just to keep your skin protected from everything that's around us, because that essentially is what's aging us as well. So everything we're exposed to, especially today, it's all the pollution and all the horrible things that we're exposed to. So yeah.
It sounds like lifestyle, apart from products and actual skin treatment, lifestyle plays a big part in aging gracefully.
Yeah, huge. Smoking, no. So obviously a lot of people nowadays are vaping and they think that's okay, but all of that, it ages your skin horribly. So you want to stay away from those things. Yeah.
Gina, the last part of our podcast is this fast fire round. So I'm going to ask you these questions, and if you could answer in a sentence, that would be perfect.
Okay.
So first question is, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Not to be my dad, not to be too emotional about certain business decisions, because I get very emotionally involved, especially with the staff, because I really genuinely love them all. So to not be too emotional. He always says, if you can't handle the heat, get out the kitchen, so yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. What's the worst piece of advice that you've ever received?
Stop growing your business. It's enough now. Hold back.
Who said that?
Various people. Like, you've gone, it's enough now. How are you going to grow your business and still maintain quality? And I think that places a fear within you as well as a business owner. And I don't think you should listen to that, because there's ways around that. Employ the right people, you can, with the right mindset, and you can grow a business with the same and maintain that quality. Yeah.
That's wise words. What's your advice to entrepreneurs wanting to live a balanced life?
You've got to know what's important in life. You need to sit down and be like, what really matters? Because what does matter? Your faith is important, first and foremost, and then your relationship with your family, your friends. Also just being healthy, because I know a lot of business owners who don't look after themselves. They don't exercise, they just work. You just got to focus on what really actually matters, because we're all going to die one day, and none of this is going to go with us. You're not going to take a little suitcase with money in it with you. So you got to prioritize the important things in life.
Next steps. What is your end goal with the Laser Lab?
Gee, but that's a difficult one. I don't know, because I always say, okay, one more, and then I'm done. But I get bored. We've got a goal to open up in Pretoria now, and in Joburg we want to open up one, and then I said, then I'm done. But I don't know.
And what does it mean to be done? Is it selling? Is it?
No. Well, if the price is right, we'll look at it. But no, I don't want to franchise at this point in time. I think I'm gonna lose a lot of the. I'm gonna lose the touch of the business. So I don't really want to do that. I don't know. I think being done means just focusing on those few stores that I have, having about 7 or 8 stores and then just stopping. But I don't know if my husband will do that. I don't know. I said to him, you can start something else. Because I never want to walk into a store and not know each person by name and have a relationship with my staff. So I think when it starts to happen and I start losing touch with what's going on, then I want to stop. Yeah.
Amazing. Gina, thank you. This was so insightful. Thank you for all the valuable tips and knowledge. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Oh, pleasure.
Cool. Thank you.